Hello. A friend of mine some 20 years ago came to me and said, Rupert, you've been publishing the rich list for a few years by now. We know that there are a lot of rich people in China. But what I'd like to know is what type of people are they? What sort of lifestyle do they have? Where do they spend their money? How do they invest their money? And I remember thinking, that's a really good question. Very difficult to dig out the answers, though. Hadn't been done before. But nonetheless, I went out and started asking a few entrepreneurs. And I was kind of taken aback by how willing they were to answer these questions. Actually, with hindsight, they're not very sensitive questions. What's your preferred country to travel to? How many days on the road are you every month? How big a house do you live in? All these sort of questions actually helped us build up a picture of the Chinese luxury consumer. And so today I'm really proud to bring you the 20th anniversary of the Hurun Chinese Luxury Consumer Survey, otherwise known with our report, which is called the Hurun Best of the Best. And it's very difficult really to make any report last for 20 years. It's even harder to do an event, the best of the best, for 20 years around a report. It's pretty rare, not just in China, but anywhere in the world. And I imagine that our Best of the Best survey and awards are probably amongst the oldest, certainly in China, if not amongst the oldest in the world. Hasn't been stopped, not even once during COVID. Kind of proud of that as well. The Chinese luxury consumer in the early days, it wasn't what it is today. Probably it was number 4, 3 or 4, or maybe even 5 in the world. Nowadays, Chinese luxury consumer is head and shoulders the biggest contributor to spending of luxury in the world. Probably 40% or 30 to 50%, certainly, depending on the different luxury categories. I remember in the first year, I presented awards to 19 brands. I'd asked the entrepreneurs, what's your preferred car brand? Your preferred hotel brand? Your preferred airline brand? Your preferred bank? And so on and so forth. Watches, even cognacs, and so on and so forth. Even MBA at the time. And they would then, I presented the awards. I remember in the early days, I had no idea the names of these brands. I misspelled some very famous brands in that first year. And then in the second year, we expanded it. And, so that we now, must have at least 100 different categories. And we don't just have a Best of the Best award, which is the number 1 for each different category. We have 2 others, which is the Star Performer, which is giving recognition to those brands that have really improved, if you like, over the year. And also something called the Best New Arrival, which is giving recognition to those brands who've just come in with a new product or a service that really has shaken up the market. And we've added on to that a Hall of Fame. Actually, when I was looking through the Hall of Fame earlier on today, I was kind of bemused because in the early days, you have like Nokia's on there. So Nokia was the absolute undoubted leader for luxury phones in those days. Nowadays, that's obviously a joke. And in the early days, we had the likes of Wu Liangye. So for those of you who know who your Baijiu, it's absolutely hands down, it's Maotai that is the number 1 today. But in those days, it was Wu Liangye, and so on and so forth. So I really hope that this report, the Chinese Luxury Consumer Survey, can actually help you understand more about who these entrepreneurs are. We know that they live in a house on average 250 square meters. We know that they like traveling to the Maldives, Australia, France. The UK has come up as well. We know where they like to send their children to study. It used to be the US, now it's to the UK. And so on and so forth. We know that they love collecting watches and art and drinks and jewelry and so on and so forth. And I suppose that's a picture that we've drawn up through this survey. This survey, we then gone on to expand it to India. And we've been running the Hurun Best of the Best in India now for 3 or 4 years. India is also another one of the fast-growing luxury consumer markets. So I very much hope this survey can help you. And I just put in a bit of history in there as well, because frankly speaking, I am quite proud. 20 years doing an IP of this type is quite an achievement. But most of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you to all our friends and partners, our brands, the entrepreneurs who've supported us throughout the years. And we know today that there are probably around $1,000 billionaires in China. That's number 1 in the world. We know that there are probably around 130,000 families with at least $15 million worth of wealth. And there are over 200,000 families, 2 million families with at least $1.5 million of wealth. So this is a really big market, and it's a fast-growing market despite some of the hiccups of the last couple of years. And it's becoming very fussy. They've always been, the luxury consumers in China have been very fussy. They know their stuff, and they're looking for the best. And I suppose what I guess what this report is designed to do is to help you be able to work out where these people live, what type of people they are, what sort of lifestyle they are, how they invest, and maybe that'll help you do a better brand. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon.